I think if you are online, let me know. Otherwise, we finish.
Marcos has come.
Okay, can I call upon her now?
He is there online. You just call him properly.
Okay, next delegates, I would like to request Dr. Marcos Vinicius Bohrer Monteiro Siqueira, the professor in Minas Gerais State University, Brazil. He did PhD in science. Dr. Dr. Marcos, his topics is an overview in Brazilian Atlantic Rainforest conservation genetics. Dr. Marcos, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Can I present my slides?
Yes, go ahead.
Let me try. Thank you very much. Okay. One second more. Okay, I think you can see it. It's okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Marcos Siqueira, and I'm professor and researcher in Minas Gerais State University, Brazil. This research was carried out especially to Summerfield School 2021 and give us the first approach and an overview in conservation genetics in Atlantic rainforest. I will go briefly in BAF. As you know, Brazil is a continental country with a long extension area and also with different biomes. BAF originally occupied 15% of the Brazilian territory with more than 1 million square kilometers, approximately the size of South Africa. Due to the number of endemic species, BAF is one of the hotspots pointed in the ICON paper of Myers and collaborators published in 2000. Historically, BAF tells us how colonization devastated this important ecosystem started 500 years ago with different economical cycles. I must underline that nowadays only 10% of the original area remains. These economical cycles start with the stratifies of Brazilian wood, followed by others, the forest fragments and local biodiversity. São Paulo, it's one of the states that belongs to BAF and have lost 90% of natural coverage in the last 200 years. The well-preserved areas are located in these mountains of the southeast coast, nature parks, and private areas. And why BAF is important? It's the home of 2% of all the species and plants. 30,000 species of plants exist in this BAF. 8,000 are endemics. It's the second great block of tropical forest. And unfortunately, we have 202 fauna species in risk. We have specifically problems in BAF, illegal hunting and fishing, commercial of wild animals, urban and industrial development, agriculture and pasture expansion. And we don't have a range of consequences about this climate change in BAF. To deal with this complex issues, one of the framework well known in biological management, it's the conservation genetics. It's the use of genetic and molecular theory and techniques to reduce risk of treatment species. The main objective of this field is to preserve populations in the long term of dynamic entities capable of adapting to environmental change. Conservation genetics starts to be applied in BAF with different molecular markers and taxons in the end of 90s. Our main justification to this research is the lack of information concerned to genetic conservation in BAF and the importance to guide future projects in this field. Our Our main goals was to analyze peer-reviewed publications between 1990 and 2020 regard to conservation genetics in BAF, exploring the following topics: representative studies published between these years, main countries, authors and primary institutions involved, and finally identify the molecular markers applied in these studies. We use Scopus database restricted to the time frame between 1990 to 2020, using three keywords: conservation genetics, genetics conservation, and Atlantic rainforest. We select only research articles to do it and filter the following informations: affiliation, authors, country of origin, molecular techniques, publications, sponsors, subject areas, and total of publications. I want to share with you some results of this approach. A total of 80 papers have been retrieved. Scopus database returned articles starting from 1996, and the number of publications start to increase almost exponentially from 2000. You observe by these 80 papers, I studied with 190 species. The majority were in flora. So the majority of the high percentage of full papers, almost 94%, came from Brazil. Of course, that we have participation with the other countries. A small percentage of the study, like Kingdom, United States, and Germany, that are examples that also use BAF as a research subject. But we see a gap in the international partnership among Brazil and the international communities. We account a total of 116 institutions that were involved with BAF conservation projects. 105 are assigned with 1 to 3 papers, and most of the institutions involved are Brazilians and come from the states where BAF biome exists, with a few exceptions. The high majority of the sponsors are Brazilians. Unfortunately, we don't have the participation of the international communities, as I highlight. 90% of the Brazilian publications is carried out in public universities, strict sensu graduate programs, highlight the importance of the academy, the Brazilian Academy, in conservation genetic projects. 90 authors are responsible for the main productions with more than 3 papers. Another 151 authors were responsible for 1 to 3 papers. According to Scopus, 2 main subject areas concentrate: agriculture and biological science, and also biochemistry, genetics, and molecular biology. This distribution of papers by subject areas can be explained by background of the researchers involved in these studies. Most are have graduations in agronomic and forest engineering, and also in biological science. When we analyze the molecular markers used in these 84 articles, our results followed the scenario showed by Christian Luther in the paper, The Evolution of Molecular Markers, Just a Matter of Faction. The beginning of conservation genetics in BAF starts in 1996 with our enzyme markers, as points Luther in this paper. Then we follow the DNA sequence polymorphism with the emphasis in microsatellites, which has some advantages, as you know, like methodological practicality, low cost, ease of data processing, high acceptance by journal. And in 2015, the first DNA repeat variation studies using next generation sequence in BAF was published, which set off a delay in conservation genomics when we compare with developed countries. Well, let me share with you our final considerations. This exploratory analysis allowed the first overview of the conservation studies in BAF, which is still deficient, as we know. I thought the Scopus platform being a reference to academy, it was possible to observe the absence of publications in Portuguese. We believe this finding is not exclusive of Brazil, but other countries may have relevant publications in National Scientific Journal, not indexed in the Scopus. The establishment of international partnership to research and science of communication will strengthen BAF conservation, beyond which relevance goes beyond the Brazilian border. And future studies are needed in order to cross data from other databases like Web of Science, for example, verify the state of art of conservation genetics in Brazil, not only in BAF, but other biomes, identify the most frequent and the main taxonomic groups in these full papers, map the studies by BAF states and analyze possible correlations with the sponsor. For example, state with more publications also receive more fundings. And last, finally, measure the impacts of the studies for BAF conservation efforts. We are at the beginning of this study, so it's important to us to present these short data. I want to thank your attention. I want to thank my colleagues Gustavo and Marcela for the support since the beginning. Thank you very much, and I'm open to questions.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Marcos. You really expose how the status of conservation genetics. Conservation genetics is really very advanced science, and that we all need to consider for conservation, and partly how we can use the tools we call biotechnological tools to conservation science. It's really, we know now how many papers we got from Brazil. So you are, I think, comparing to other country in advance in conservation genetics. And really the conservation genetics, I think we have very few people to consider this science, but this is the demands to have an expert on this area. Thank you once again, Dr. Marcos.
Thank you very much.